Hey, what's going on, guys? HobbyZone sent me their new portable hobby station here, which we'll be taking a look at in today's video. But just in case you guys don't remember, HobbyZone actually sent me some products a few years back, and you can actually see them in the background of a lot of my videos here. Part of their modular workstation setup is these individual modules that help to contain your paints, tools, supplies, and everything else for modeling. They have a lot of really great products on there. Can't recommend them enough. I love them. I actually got those when I was living in Korea, and then I brought them over here to the US with me when I moved, just because they're so fantastic, and I just love the way they look, and I love how functional they are, and they're really great. So when they reached out and asked if I would like to take a look at their new portable hobby station, I said absolutely. So I was able to choose some of the options because it's all about customizing your products in terms of how you want to stack them and how you want to arrange them and everything. And the same thing goes here for the new portable hobby station. I'll throw some pictures up on the screen just so you guys can see. But in today's video, we'll check out the products. I'll show you guys what I selected, and then we'll take it out because it's a portable hobby station, so you're meant to kind of take it out and take it with you. So we'll be going out on a little bit of an adventure for today's video, trying this hobby station out in a few different locales around my area. I hope that you guys will enjoy the video. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so right here is everything that we had in there. This would be the main portable hobby station, and then these would be the individual parts that will go in there, and all these are just going to be in these nice cardboard packages, which look pretty much exactly the same on the outside, but they are labeled individually for what is actually in there. So we'll take a look at those in a moment. Over here, first impression on this, I'll just say that I was kind of expecting it to be maybe even like slightly larger, which I'm actually pretty glad about, because to be portable, I mean, you want to be able to carry a good amount of stuff with you, but you also don't want it to be too huge. That kind of defeats the purpose of it being portable. So I think the size is going to be pretty nice. But just a couple of other things that we had included in here as well, just some cool stickers in here. That's very nice. And then there was a couple of other little bits. These free gifts here, 2 brush stands. Very nice. We'll take a look at those in a moment as well. Here is the dry brush test palette here also. So really cool little stuff there. Let's get into the main attraction. Now, if you haven't seen my past video before, you may not know that some assembly is going to be required. And the assembly does take a little bit of time and a little bit of effort, but it does, I think, save you a lot. You can imagine that the box that this was all shipped in would have been easily twice the size had this been all pre-assembled. So I don't mind it, and honestly, as someone who enjoys modeling, I also enjoy putting stuff like this together as well, so it doesn't bother me at all. Here we have some more of the hardware. This would be like for the strap and for the corner parts. These are going to be our corner pieces that are going to protect the corners of the box, which look to be like they're just 3D printed plastic parts there. And it's also going to include the latch, which is going to hold the unit closed, which it looks like is magnetized there. So you can see this is going to need to be screwed onto the front, but then it does have some magnets in there as well. We do, it looks like, have some magnets here as well. And what would really be helpful here is the instructions, of course. So here is our instructions. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be pretty straightforward. I think this is maybe, not the entirety of the instructions. I was going to say, there's probably a little bit more than that. There's another page here. Steps 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 here. And yeah, okay. And the modular parts inside are all going to be probably pretty similar here, but I will show you a couple of these, and then we'll kind of cut to once I have everything all put together and assembled. But just to give you guys an idea of what you can expect with this stuff here. So this one is the large capacity drawer insert here, which is basically just a large deep drawer. So this one's going to be pretty straightforward. And with this too, we've got some magnets there, and it looks like this one will need to be glued, some of these parts. So basically just the bottom piece and then the 4 walls to go around that. So again, yeah, pretty straightforward. This one is the palette and brushes insert. This one should be pretty interesting. So we've got another kind of plastic piece there with some styrofoam padding there, it looks like, and some magnets for this one. It's gonna be a few pieces that we're just gonna snap apart, basically like this. You can kind of just clean that up a little bit with a sharp knife, and then we've got all of our pieces here for assembly of that. So okay, anyway, let me go ahead and get this stuff all put together, and then I'll show you what the box is going to look like with some of these different option sets included, and then we'll head out. Alright guys, so after spending an evening putting this all together, it took about 2 hours maybe to get everything all glued together, and then I left it overnight and then kind of finished the assembly here. I wanted to give you guys a look at just kind of the overall size of this. And like I said, it's not as big as I expected, which is nice. I like that. I think it's a really good size. It is relatively heavy though. I'll give you guys a look at the weight of this on a scale there. And that is of course empty without having loaded anything in this yet. So I will show you guys just kind of the setup that I have for the moment and just kind of how everything's looking, and then we'll load it up with some supplies and head out. All right, so starting off here on the top, the strap does feel really nice and secure. I'm not worried about like carrying this around, even once it gets like well heavy, once it's actually full of stuff. I don't think that this is going to break, 'cause it's a pretty thick nylon strap here, and it is actually looped through the top board here and then actually screwed down with this 3D printed plastic piece right here. So that does feel pretty secure. And then going around here on the sides, you will see the magnets. So it is going to be using magnets to hold the drawers in place, so that ideally when you're moving things around like that, if you had a drawer on this side and nothing on this side, you don't want the drawer to slide over to the other side or anything to be sliding around in here. So these magnets will hold the drawers in place on the inside. The clasp here also, it uses pressure, just because of the way that the pieces kind of overlap there. And then there's also magnets here in the clasp as well. So that does also feel pretty secure, because we have one at the top and then one at the bottom down here as well. All right, then opening it up here works very well. I'm gonna go through and show you guys the different drawers that I have selected here, what I've got for this. So starting off with this top one here, this is actually a combination of pieces. So you have number one, just a simple drawer or a tray here that you can use, and this does have 4 walls around it, so nothing is going to be getting lost out of here. There is a little bit of a dip at the front, and that's just so you can more easily pull it out of there, but that's a pretty simple use. And then we have this black 3D printed plastic insert here, and this has a couple of uses. One, you can use this for while you're painting parts. If you have some small alligator clips or some pieces for like a small miniatures or something that you're using on like the end of toothpicks or whatever, you can store them in here for while you're painting and use it that way. Another usage would be maybe while you're snap building a kit and while you're clipping and using your knife to remove the nub marks. You have all the little bits of plastic that fall around everywhere, all over the place. You could just set this underneath you while you're working, and then ideally all those little bits of plastic would fall into here. You could kind of collect them in here, and then later once you're done, you know, you just tap this into the trash and it makes it a little bit more cleaner. Now obviously if you guys have built a lot of kits, you know that those little bits of plastic just kind of fly everywhere, but this could work pretty well just as a little catch here for keeping your workstation a little bit more tidy. Over here on this side, this is another kind of simple tray here that obviously has a metal bottom piece here. Now you don't have to use that, that is optional. There's a couple of pieces of 3M tape on the bottom side of that metal piece that you could use. If you peel the paper and stick this down, then it's stuck, and that's what I've done here with mine. But you could opt to not do that, and then you could just keep this as a removable metal piece in there if you don't want to have this permanently stuck in there. But we have some handles here on the side. Obviously this is not having any kind of wall here on the front side of the tray, so this is not something that will, you know, keep your stuff contained in here, but more something that you can just use as kind of like a temporary station if you need to work on that. Now this basic shelf is something that you actually get included with the full set, the main box. You get 2 of just these simple shelves here like that you can use, and below that here, this is just another simple tray like the one that I've got up there, but in this case doesn't have any sort of insert or anything in there. You can just use that for keeping some stuff organized while we're working. And then over here, 2 of the large capacity drawers. Now these will be probably especially useful for paints or anything like mark softer, mark setter, anything that's in like a little bit taller bottles or something like that you can keep in here. Obviously larger parts or like smaller runners or just any kits or parts that you're working on, you can use these larger capacity storage drawers there. Then moving down below that, I've got one here and another one over here of these smaller storage drawers that are shorter. These are double in the height, so they will take up 2 slots inside there. This is just like a single slot height, but we have this separator here that you can put at different increments. If you only needed to use like one separation, you wanted to have like a larger space over here, you can do that. So you have some options as to how you want to separate the space, and again, could be used full for paints or like bits of sanding paper or sanding sponges. You could keep different grits organized, things like that in here. Or of course, you could just omit the separator entirely and just use it as a storage drawer. Like that would work pretty well for like smaller bottles like Mr. Color, or I think Citadel paints would probably fit in here, I would imagine. Another thing to notice too, just about the height of the slots here, I mentioned that the large capacity drawers take up 2 slots, but you'll notice the one here, the slot at the very top is thinner. So like, for example, even though this is the thinner storage drawer, this wouldn't fit here at the top. So the top one, you'll only be able to fit in this shorter storage trays like that. And speaking of, I've got one more of just kind of the standard short tray here. And then this one is actually a little bit kind of more unique. And this is actually a combination. This is just the standard shelf that I said you get 2 of with this set, but I'm using that in combination with this piece, which actually does open up like this. So in here, it's basically just a small little storage area where you could keep like your hobby knife, maybe nippers, pens, or something like that. And then this part up here, these bits at the top are actually just magnetized bits, so you can actually keep your instructions here. Say we're working on the kit here, I can just set up my instructions like this. And obviously the magnet's gonna block a little bit of the instructions, just kind of depending on how you have it set, but you can use the magnets to help hold the instructions like that. But a kind of more useful way to utilize this is that you can also stick this onto the side of the unit here like that, and then we can magnetize our instructions over here, for example, and then they're held on there over on the side. Now, like I said, these magnets will obviously kind of block a little bit of the instructions right there, but it is something that you might find helpful if you want to have your instructions just kind of over to the side and not in the way of anything. But otherwise, this one, as you'll notice, is also thinner, so this would fit in that top thinner slot there. I'm just going to keep this right here for the time being. And then lastly, here at the bottom, we have this brush tray. Now you notice, obviously, this sticks out and has this bit of a curved cut there. That's because you will have to use this in a slot that is able to have the other side empty, so that when you close this, that is going to basically take up like 2 adjacent slots on the 2 sides. Now this has space here for a wet palette, and then right here for holding your brushes. So this little bit is also magnetized and has a little kind of sponge there on the bottom of it. So if we can pretend this bit of plastic is a brush, for example, you have your brushes laid out on here, and this piece will hold them in place for while you're traveling. Now, obviously the length is something you'll have to keep in mind, because they would have to be of a length that's not going to be sticking out, because then obviously they won't fit in the box. But most brushes, I would imagine, would fit this length. The other key thing to note about this insert is that it doesn't fit into the slots. It actually just fits on the bottom, or you would need to use this with just one of these standard shelves here like this. You could use this with that, and then this could fit onto just any one of the shelf slots. But for me, I think I'm going to use this for the time being just here on the bottom. That'll stay in there like that. It is magnetized in place. And then if you'll recall, we did have a couple of other extra bits that were thrown in there. This dry palette piece here, which is just this simple piece. I'm just gonna stick that right in there for the time being. And then a couple of other simple little brush racks that you can use. So maybe, for example, you're working and like you don't wanna have the full box there. You can just have a couple of these brush racks or tool racks for your knife or nippers or marker or whatever you want to use. So these are pretty handy little desktop organizers there as well. All right, so as you may have seen from that hint just a moment ago, this is the kit that I'm going to be working on. Actually, it's a set of 2 kits here, 2 of the 1/5 scale Melusine kit from the Machining Krieger line from Hasegawa. So basically, I'm gonna stock this with everything that I think that I'm going to need for building and painting this set of kits. I will be hand brushing these, so obviously I'm not going to be using an airbrush or anything like that. I'm going to build these and paint them entirely out of my studio. But let me go ahead and try to gather up everything that I'm going to need, and then we'll head out. All right, so I think I got everything collected here, and it's kind of interesting just how illustrative it is of just kind of like everything that goes into making even just a couple of little kits like this. Now, probably there's some of these tools which you could do without. Of course, some things would be optional, and this is just kind of what I'm expecting that I'm gonna need for this. All right, so I got everything packed, and I'm even going to be able to not even have to take the box for the kit. What I ended up doing with the runners here, so this is the box that I'll sort everything in, but I just took the larger runner that this kit had and basically just cut it up. By cutting like one large runner up into 4 sections, I can just stash all the pieces of the runners right there for the time being until I get everything all cut up. And then once everything's all assembled and put together, I can temporarily use the storage box if I need to for storing some of the pieces in there. But up here at the top, I got our instructions and decals as well, all right up here. We'll just have those folded so that those will stay in here. At the top, just got the nippers, and then everything is kind of pretty well organized here. This is sort of like some construction modding tools all right here on this shelf. Below that, inside here, we've got knife and files and tweezers, and then in the drawer below that, Q-tips, sanding sponges, glue, masking tape, everything in there. And then back over here to this side, top coat and surfacer. On this one, I did go ahead and omit the separator for the time being. This is our paint and Panaline wash and paint tray. And then lastly down here, thinner and decal softer. My alligator clips are a bit too long, won't be able to use those. I could cut some of these down so that they would fit in here. I don't think I'm really gonna need them, so I'm gonna do without that. That's the only thing that I was planning to take that's not gonna fit in here. I did also omit one of just the standard shelves there, but we have everything that we need to build and paint this kit all in here. Let's go ahead and get this closed up. And I'm gonna check the weight now, what the weight's gonna be. I'll show that to you guys on the screen now compared to the empty weight. But I'm ready to take this guy out. Let's go. All right, so back in the studio now, ready to render my final thoughts and show you the finished product of what I worked on the Melusine kits here. So I'll show you a nice close-up look at these guys, but here is what I've got finished so far on these. Now there is a little bit more that I do want to do on these. I want to base them up nicely and maybe do a little bit more weathering on them, but just using everything that I packed in here, this is the final result on the two Melusine kits here that I did. But we'll talk some more about the kits in a separate video. For now, just some final thoughts here on this HobbyZone product. I gotta say, it definitely is really nice if you're the kind of person that think you can use this. I mean, if you're the kind of person that has a dedicated hobby space and workbench, then I would probably just recommend the desk products. But if you're the kind of person that does want to be able to take your tools and supplies elsewhere over to a friend's house, or maybe you have like group meetups that you want to be able to take your stuff to and work on at a group meetup or at an expo or an event or something like that, or you want to take your stuff to a local bar or coffee shop or something, it's great for that. It's also great if you don't have a dedicated hobby space. Maybe you just work on your kitchen table at home, for example, and so you want to be able to have all your stuff in the box and be able to pack it up and put it away nicely off to the side, and then when you want to work on something, you can take it out. So it's not necessarily something that you have to use like on the go. You can just use it at home, and it can definitely work out well for that. So of course, the other nice thing about this is the customizability. You can customize it to whatever you need. If you only need the drawer inserts, you can do that. You can customize it with whatever different inserts that you think you might utilize. And so overall, a really, really nice product that I'm looking forward to using some more. I'll probably be using this at home. I may use it on the go sometimes. Like sometimes I get kind of tired of working just only in my small little space here, and I may want to go out and work at a local coffee shop or something like that. Maybe I might just take this with me and get some stairs, but that's fine. Anyway, guys, so in conclusion, definitely check it out. I'll leave the link to the website for HobbyZone in the video description, where another great feature on the website there is that you can visualize your custom setup there on the website before you actually go to order anything. So you can kind of check what's all going to fit where, how many different inserts can you fit on one side and the other. You can do all that. You can test it out on the website, which is awesome. And in other great news, you actually will be able to get this stuff here in the US from here at USA Gundam Store very soon. So we're in the process of getting it set up for you guys that you'll be able to order this stuff here with us at USA Gundam Store. So look forward to that in the near future. We'll definitely let you guys know once this stuff is available for you guys to order. But for the moment, check this stuff out on HobbyZone's website. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions or comments, anything related to this HobbyZone stuff that you want to know. Let me know in the comments and I can answer that if I need to. If it's something I need to demo, I can maybe do that in just like an Instagram post or YouTube short or something. So let me know if you have questions. But for now, guys, again, a big thank you to HobbyZone for sending this stuff to me to try out and share with you guys. Really cool products. Definitely enjoyed using it. Enjoyed going out and doing some modeling outside for a change. Was very fun. So appreciate the opportunity and hope you guys enjoyed it too. So look forward to the follow-up video on the finished mellow scenes after I do a little bit more work on those. And as always, guys, thank you so much for all of your support, leaving a like, making sure that you're subscribed. I really appreciate it. So until next time, hope you all have a great day. Bye, guys.